What's up, guys? This is Seville with another NECA Real Toys Ultimate Edition action figure review. Today, I'm going to be talking about the blue and brown Xenomorphs from Aliens. These figures can be found anywhere carrying NECA products, such as Books A Million or Target. They are both recent releases, coming out at the same time, and usually distributed in pairs. To my knowledge, they both have the same production rates, so it shouldn't be any harder to find one than the other. Unless, of course, fellow collectors tend to lean towards one color or the other. Under the front flaps, there is a window so that you can see the figures inside. If you can give me just a minute though, I'll go ahead and get these figures out of their boxes. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment below. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now that the Xenomorphs are out of their package, I'm going to give them another rotation on the spinner, that way you can see them all the way around. Each figure does include a sort of diorama card that you can see in the background right now, plus 3 accessories including the egg, face hugger, and chest burster. The image card and the accessories are all identical no matter which figure you get. With all that said though, let's get a more detailed look at the Xenomorphs. When these were first announced, I kinda thought the Xenomorphs would just be previously released figures repackaged with the additional accessories. But now that they're in my hands, I can see that I was mistaken in that thought. While of course there are some similarities to the previous Xenomorphs, they're not just total reissues like I was afraid they would be. Except for when it comes to their similarities with each other. The only difference between the blue and the brown is exactly that, just their colors. So with that being the case, I'm going to pull the brown one out for now. That way I can clearly compare the new Ultimate Xenomorph in the middle to a couple of the recent ones, such as the Covenant Xenomorph on the left, and a Ridgehead Xenomorph from I think Alien 3. I could be wrong about that. The overall sculpt is much closer to this Ridgehead than it is to the Covenant one, with the exoskeleton being very clearly defined, and the overall aesthetic having a much more hardened appearance. And of course, all 3 figures do have the jaw hinge that lets out the death tongue thing. A lot of the key differences though are in their appendages. On the Ultimates, it's more like 3 big digits that have a little bit of an indentation in between them, but it's not separate fingers. But the hands on the Covenant figure is almost more humanoid than anything else. But on the Ridgehead figure, it looks closer to being like the Ultimate, but there is some separation in between the digits. But then the opposite holds true for the legs, in that the new ones are more humanoid like the Covenant version, but the Ridgehead has the extra backwards bending joint. However, their feet are more similarly designed, while the Covenant design was again almost more humanoid. So overall, the Ultimate Xenomorph does indeed have enough going for it to be its own unique figure. Before getting into the articulation, I do want to get a closer look at the accessories. The egg itself is pretty highly detailed, with the same sculpted patterns going all the way around, and even some on the inside, which you can see better now that I've changed the lighting. And of course from the egg comes a face hugger. It's got a lot of pretty good detail in it as well, with a tail that's about 3.5 inches long. And much like the Xenomorph tails, they do have the bendy wire inside them so that you can adjust them how you want. And so does the chest burster tail. The rest of the detail on the chest burster looks okay, but it's really small, so there's not much they could do to make it any better. Now though, back to the Xenomorph and on to the articulation. The head does turn side to side, but is a bit restricted by the surrounding body. The jaw hinge can fully close and open really wide for the death tongue. The shoulders can spin all the way around, as well as move backwards. While the elbows are double jointed, it still seems like you don't get a whole lot of closing and opening movement out of them, but each piece of the arm can rotate independently. The wrists also have full rotation, as well as the hinge for back and forth movement. Plus, the hands themselves have a similar joint for the finger movement. The torso joint does have an ab crunch. That folds pretty well and can rotate side to side. The hip joints spread out pretty far and do really well front to back. The double knee joints can fold up almost entirely. The ankles do get some up and down movement and rotation, and the toes can fold up and down as well. The tail can rotate at the top of the joint where it plugs into the body, and the rest of it is all the bendy wire. So with all that said, it's time to run through my guidelines for a complete and fair review. These figures do have a brand new sculpt that are highly detailed and incredibly screen accurate. They are in scale with other figures in the line, and they do have more than 20 points of articulation. They don't seem too fragile, which is really good because they are very difficult to keep balanced. They do come with multiple accessories, and the roughly $25 to $30 price point does seem fair. And finally, they should be readily and widely available anywhere carrying NECA products. leading these figures to a 9-star rating, meaning they are outstanding and one of the best products of the year. So no matter which color you choose, these figures definitely qualify as the ultimate alien xenomorph. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this review,
Get over here!
and subscribe to Civilian Collectibles.